Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mitch. Today I have a friend with me, and he's a really good friend because he gave a thumbs up to my videos and he subscribed to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about Linux Mint. Linux Mint normally does 2 brand new ISOs a year. They do one in December and they release one in July. And their new ISOs have bug fixes, security fixes, but mostly their new ISOs have brand new features and new things that they're adding into the system or changing in the system. So they released a new ISO in the middle of July of this month. Today is July 30th. So in the middle of the month, they released a new ISO. So today I'm going to talk about it and show how to upgrade to it. So let's get to it. So this is the Linux Mint website, and you can see they released Linux Mint 21.2, codename Victoria. And if you're going to download it, they're recommending you to download this one. Right now, they don't recommend LMDE5, which is the one that is on Debian. They're still recommending that you download and use the one based on Ubuntu. Like I said, this is the new Linux Mint. If you want to download it, if you don't have Linux Mint installed, you can just click this on. And they have, of course, the 3 flavors: Cinnamon Edition, the Mate Edition, and the XFCE Edition. The Cinnamon Edition is their flagship one, and that's the one I recommend. And you could just click on this download the ISO, and do a brand new installation. So there's 2 ways to get the brand new installation. Number 1 is, if you already have Linux Mint installed, you can wipe it out and just start from fresh, download the brand new ISO, and reinstall Linux Mint. And of course, if you do that, you have to make sure you have all your music files, your video files, your Office documents, your passwords, any other personal file backed up, because you're going to have to reinstall it. The second way to upgrade to the new system is to go through a special upgrade program that the Linux Mint team have provided. If you already have Linux Mint installed, you don't have to upgrade to the new system. So like I said, Linux Mint, they always release a new ISO in December and in July. So this Linux Mint 21.1, codename Vera, which was released in December 2022. And this is the one that I have installed as a virtual machine in my system, and the one I'm going to upgrade. If you go down, it tells you that this Linux Mint 21.1 is a long-term support release, which will be supported until 2027. See right here? 2027. So the thing is that if you're running this system and you made your installation from December and you're doing regular updates, you do not have to upgrade to the brand new system that was released. As long as you're doing your regular updates, regardless of whether you're doing it in a terminal or doing it in the package manager, you do not have to update to the brand new system. Your apps will be updated, your LibreOffice, your music player, your video players, your web browsers will all be updated if you go through the regular update process, and you will get all of the security patches and bug fixes that you need in your system to make it run properly until 2027. Because the one from December is going to be supported until 2027. So you do not have to upgrade to the new system. Now, the only thing you won't get is you won't get new features. Because when Linux Mint releases a new ISO in December and in July, they always add new features, and some features they change and some things are brand new. So you won't get new features, but all your apps will get updated and you'll get all the security patches and bug fixes. So like I said, there's no reason to really upgrade unless you want to. And if you do upgrade, you're taking a risk. Now, like I said, there's two ways to do it. You could wipe out your system and do a brand new installation from the brand new ISO, but then you have to have all your music files and video files and other personal files backed up, and you have to reinstall them. The other way is to go through the upgrade procedure that the Linux Mint team has provided, but there's a risk. So having said all that, let's go back to the Linux Mint blog. And so the brand new Linux Mint is 21.2 Victoria. And of course, because it's the one based on Ubuntu, it comes in Cinnamon Edition, Mate Edition, and XFCE Edition. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to their blog, and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click on this second one. So this was the announcement on July 16th. Linux Mint 21.2 Victoria, Cinnamon released. And you can go down here. Let's just scan down with I just got to use my keyboard. So it tells you what the new features are, which I'm not going to tell you. And then if you want to see what's new in this Linux Mint, you have to click on this link. And it will take you there, and it's going to tell you what all the new features are, which I'm not going to read to you. You can scan it down. They changed to Slick Reader. I'm just going to go through this very quickly. The software manager has been changed. Pix has been changed. And there's a lot of other changes and improvements. Folders and icons have changed. I'm just doing this really quickly. And it tells you, and so you can go here and read what's going to be in the new edition. So like I said, if you just go through the regular update process and keep the edition from December, you won't get all this new stuff. All your apps will be updated, and your security patches and bug fixes will be updated, but you won't get all these new features. So I'm just going through this quickly. You can read this. There's a whole list here of things that are going to be changing if you upgrade to the brand new system. And that's where you go to get it. So now, let's back up. So that's the link that tells you what's new. And they give you some important information, some release notes, and so forth. Now, I'm going to back up again. Let's go to this one. This is how to upgrade. So this was released on July 18th. And these are the instructions on how to upgrade. So if you're running the Linux Mint from this past December, or even an older one, this gives you the instructions on how to upgrade. And I just followed these instructions and I upgraded my system and it worked. So you can go here and read this for yourself. I'm not going to read it to you. And that's there. So that's that. So now I'm going to close this. And I'm going to go into my virtual machine. And I'm going to close this. So this is a virtual machine of Linux Mint from the December 2022 ISO. And in Linux Mint, there's two ways to get information on it. So one is you can go into the menu and just type in System Info. And you can click this on. Let's make it large screen. And it tells you right here, we're running Linux Mint 21.1 Cinnamon. So that's the one that came out in December. And you can close that. And of course, you can do a NeoFetch. Let's do NeoFetch. And you can see here, we're running Linux Mint 21.1 Vera. So this is a virtual machine of Linux Mint Vera 21.1 from December. This has never been updated. So the only thing that I've changed in it is that, I changed the date format. I put the weather app down. I downloaded the weather app and I have it installed. I downloaded Vim. I downloaded Zesh and installed it. I downloaded Xterm and installed it. I have a dark theme on. I made Zesh. I downloaded Zesh and I downloaded my Mensch configuration files from GitLab. Oh, I downloaded GitLab because that wasn't installed. And then I downloaded Mensch, my Mensch folder from my GitLab repository. And I installed my Zesh. Well, I installed Zesh and I installed my Zesh configuration file. And I made Zesh my default shell because in Linux Mint, Bash is the default shell and GNOME terminal is the terminal. So I got everything working the way I like it. Like I said, I have Xterm and Zesh. Everything is installed, but I haven't done any updates. So this system is from, and that's why I keep getting this warning. This update manager is popping up. I'm going to close that. It doesn't look like it closed properly. Let's close it. Okay. So this system hasn't been updated. This is a brand new installation from December. And I just made a few changes and a few configurations just to get things the way I like it. And I want to see if they're still going to be there after I upgrade to the new system. Now, I showed you before the instructions on the Linux Mint website, and those are the instructions I'm going to follow. So assuming you're not going to wipe out your system and download the ISO, wipe out your system and do a brand new installation, assuming you're running the Linux Mint from December, and you want to upgrade to the brand new Linux Mint, the first thing you have to do is make sure your system is up to date. So I presume if you've been running Linux Mint since December, you've been updating it every few days, once a week, at least once a month, and I assume it's up to date. So first thing you got to do is do an update. So if you do an update, it's probably only going to take a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but you have to update the system first. Now, updating the system first won't upgrade you to the brand new system. It would just update all your apps and security bugs and fixes for the system that you're using. So you have to update it first before you upgrade it. So like I said, if you've been updating regularly, it should only take a minute or two. But this system hasn't been updated since, well, since it was installed. So first I'm going to do an update. Now you can do that update, let's close this. Let's just close that. So whether you're doing an update that's from a few weeks ago or from a few months ago, you can do your update, your regular update, in the terminal or in the package manager. But I'm going to do it in the terminal. So I'm going to open up a terminal, and I'm just doing a regular update now. And you have to do a regular update first. So I'm going to do sudo apt update. I'm going to put my password in. And it's just reading all the information. And it's saying there's 360 packages to, well, it's saying to upgrade. But it's really not upgrading them, it's updating them. Now, like I said, if you've been updating your system on a regular basis, you still have to update it before you try to change it to the brand new system. You still have to update it, but when you go to update it, there might only be 10 packages to update or 20 packages, or maybe only 5. If you updated it just a few days ago, there might only be 5 things to update or nothing to update. But I have 360 packages to update because this thing's never been updated. This is the system as it was from December, except for my few changes that I made in it. So I'm going to do sudo apt upgrade. Now, I wish I didn't use the word upgrade because I'm not upgrading to the brand new system. I'm just updating the old system. So I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to say yes, it's updating all those packages. So I'm back. It finished updating. It took about 10 minutes. But like I said, the system's never been updated since December. So, like I said before, if you've been using the system regularly and updating on a regular basis, it should only take a minute or two to update. Anyways, I'm going to reboot. Oops, I'm going to have to reboot because there was kernel updates in here. And it's just going to take a moment to reboot, and maybe I'll pause it. Should I pause it or not? I don't know. And I did pause it for a second, but I really didn't have to because it didn't take that long to reboot. So let's put my password in. So my system is up to date. Now, I'm still on the old December system. Well, let's do this. Let's go into System Info. Let's click on System Info. And I'm still on Linux Mint 21.1. And we can also open my terminal. And let's type in NeoFetch. So as you can see, I'm still on Linux Mint 21.1 Vera. But my system is totally up to date. All the security patches are in there. All the apps have been updated. Everything's up to date. And I can keep using this system till 2027. I don't have to update to the new Linux Mint. Everything is up to date and everything is good to go. Or good to stay. Yeah, that's right. Everything is good to stay. But now that I've updated everything, if I do want to upgrade to the brand new Linux Mint that just came out, there's a couple more things you have to do before you start the process. And it tells you on the Linux Mint website in the instructions on how to upgrade. It tells you to update your themes. So I'm going to go into themes. And I'm just going to add and remove. Let's make that full screen. And I'm going to click here, add and remove. So I'm just downloading. It's updating the themes. And it tells you to do this in the instructions on how to upgrade. That's done. And it also tells you to upgrade the applets. And I'm going to right click on the bar. And I'm going to go to applets. And I'm going to click on right here, download. And I'm just downloading and refreshing the applets. And that's done. Okay, so now we're ready to upgrade to the brand new Linux Mint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on now. When I'm doing my regular updates, as you saw, I did it in the terminal. And you can update the system in the terminal or in the package manager. But as far as upgrading to the brand new Linux Mint, I don't know how to do that in a terminal, and I didn't see instructions on the Linux Mint website about how to do that in a terminal. From what I could see, they're only telling you how to do it with the package manager, which is okay. Now, another thing before I do it is that on the instructions, the Linux Mint instructions, they recommend doing time shift before you actually do the upgrade. And time shift, in case you don't know, time shift is a program that's available in most Linux distributions, as well as Linux Mint. And what it does is it takes a snapshot of your system. So when you're updating or upgrading it, if something goes wrong, you can always fall back to that snapshot. So the Linux Mint team recommends doing a time shift. That way, if something goes wrong, you still have your system available. I've never used time shift because I always figure if something ever goes wrong with my system, I'll just do a fresh install. And I have all my personal files, my music, my videos, my Word documents, my spreadsheets, everything is backed up. So I always figured I don't need to do time shift. So I've never used it and I've never learned how to use it. I've never played with it even. So you don't have to do a time shift if you're upgrading to the brand new Linux Mint system, but they recommend that you do it. But I'm not going to do it here because I don't know how to use it. And secondly, this is just a virtual machine. So if the virtual machine gets damaged, I'll have to remake a virtual machine and start the video all over again. So having said that, let's go and do it. So we're going to click on the package manager and see your system is up to date. Now we could just do a refresh. Let's make that full screen. Let's just do a refresh. Let's just make sure our system is up to date because that's what you have to do. So it's downloading package information. And this is just going to take a second. And it should be up to date because I just did an update. I just updated 360 packages. And there it is. It's telling me my system is up to date. So my system is up to date. I also updated my applets and I updated my themes as recommended by the Linux Mint team on their website. So now we're ready to do the upgrade, to upgrade the system to the brand new Linux Mint. So like I said, if you've been using Linux Mint since December and doing regular updates, it shouldn't have taken this long to get to this part. It only took me this long because I updated the whole thing from December, and that took 10 minutes. Anyway, so now our system is up to date and we're ready to do our upgrade to the brand new Linux Mint. So we're going to go to Edit. And see down here, this one at the bottom, it says Upgrade to Linux Mint 21.2 Victoria. So I'm going to click it on. And it's giving you an introduction. It's giving you some release notes, requirements, summary. I'm going to skip all that. Linux Mint 21.2 Victoria. I'm going to click on Next. And you can click on here and read stuff. I'm going to just click on Next. Again, you can click on another link and read more stuff. I'm just going to click on Next. And I understand the risk. I want to upgrade Linux Mint 21.2 Victoria. So I'm going to click it on, and it's clicked on, and I'm going to click Apply. And of course, you couldn't see me clicking the Apply because my head was in the way. So I was clicking on Next during all those things down here. It kept saying Next, Next, and now Apply. And now I'm going to put my password in. And authenticate. And sorry about that. Sorry about my face being in the way. That happens sometimes. Sometimes I don't realize my face was covering something up until after I'm editing the video. When I'm editing the video, I go, oh, my face was covering and blocking what I was doing. So now it looks like it's frozen. Let's hit Apply again. It's frozen. It's working. And it's just going through some procedures. It might do this a couple of times, and sometimes it might look like it was frozen, but it's not. So I'm just going to wait another moment until it looks like it's finished asking for permission. And then I'm going to pause the video because this process takes about 5 minutes. So it looks like it's not going to ask me anymore to confirm anything. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back in 5 minutes. Now, while it's doing this installation a couple times, and I had the video paused. I watched it do it, but the video was paused. A couple times during this install, the screen comes back up and says, I understand that there's a risk. You know, that page that came up before. Well, you don't have to do anything. Just leave it, because I didn't touch my mouse and it just automatically keeps. Here it comes again. See that? So that came up about 3 times while the video was paused, but I didn't touch anything. I just let it run through. And it answered the question by itself and continued on with the installation. So anyways, it's finished. It says your operating system was successfully upgraded. Please reboot your computer for all the changes to take effect. Okay. So let's close this. Let's close this. Let's restart. And of course, I could have gone in the terminal and restarted, which I usually do. In most of my installations, whatever I'm using, Arch, Linux Mint, MX Linux, Debian, whatever, I always like to go into the terminal and type it in to reboot or shut down. But you can do it the easy way as well. Let's put the password in and let's log into the brand new system. So now, if everything worked, we are in the brand new Linux Mint system. So let's open up a terminal. Let's type in NeoFetch. Now, of course, you see here, it says Mensch at Mint December 2022, because that's just a host name. And upgrading to a new system is not going to change your host name. You have to do that manually. And I'm going to show you how to do that. That's going to be a bonus. in case you don't know how to do it. And I've showed how to do this in many of my videos anyways. Let's do a neofetch. And there we are. We are on right here. Linux Mint 21.2. Now let's go to system info. Let's click that on. And here it tells you too, we are on Linux Mint 21.2. So we've upgraded to the new Linux Mint. Now there is another way to confirm and see that you're in the brand new Linux Mint system. And I forgot to show you before I upgraded to the new system. So I intended to open the software store after my update, but before I upgraded to the brand new system, I intended to open the software store because the software store changed. And there's an easy way to show whether you're in the new system or the old system in the software store. But I forgot to show it, and I can't roll back. But I do have a virtual machine of Linux Mint Debian, and that hasn't been upgraded to the new system yet because they're not going to provide the ISO and the information to do that until sometime in August. So I opened up that machine and I'm going to show you. So let's close this. Well, I'm not going to close it. Let's just go to my Linux Mint Debian. So now I'm in the virtual machine of Linux Mint Debian, which has been totally updated today, but not upgraded to the new system because that's not going to be available till August. Maybe mid-August, I'm not sure. They didn't give an exact date. So let's open up the Software Center. And it's the same Software Center that was available in the Linux Mint Ubuntu before the upgrade in the middle of July. So if you can see here, now they made other changes to the Software Center, but this is one small, easy change where it's easy to see whether you're in the new system or the old system, regardless of whether it be Ubuntu or Debian based. Well, like I said, the new Debian based hasn't come out yet. But anyways, if you notice, the search menu is on the top right corner. Well, in the new system, the search menu is over here in the top left corner. Now, there's other changes that they made to the Software Center besides that, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I just want to show you a simple way of seeing whether you're in the new system or the old system. That's all. So I'm going to close that. See, the search menu is here. And let's just close that. And I'm going to close this. We don't even need to be in here anymore. Let's shut down. So that's my Linux Mint Debian. So now I closed Linux Mint Debian and I'm back in Linux Mint Ubuntu 21.2 Victoria. And let's open up the Software Center. Let's make it full screen. So now we can see the search menu is over here on the left, the top left. You type in Brave. Let's see if they have Brave browser, and there it is. There's Brave browser. Let's type in OBS, and there's OBS. Let's click it on. Now, once we click it on, there's a pull-down menu. You can see whether you want to do the Flatpak or you want to do the one from the official Linux Mint repository. But of course, the main way you would know is that the search menu is on the left and not on the right. That's another way you can tell that you're in the new system. So other than changing the theming, everything stayed the same, and fixing the theming to the way I liked it only took a second. Otherwise, everything stayed the same. So this theming is kind of ugly. So what I'm going to do is go to settings and look at these icons. Look how ugly they are. Maybe you like them, but I don't. And I didn't have them set this way before. So what I'm going to do is go to settings. Somehow the upgrade changed this. I don't know why. I'm going to go to themes. And if you land on this page, this is the page where you want to be. but you might end up landing on this page. And if you land on this page, all you got to do is click on this icon here, simplified settings. Now you can change your theming with all these icons here, like we've been doing for many years in Linux Mint. But I think it's easier if you just click on simplified settings. So if you do land on this page, just click on simplified settings, and you may land on this page already, but this is the page you want. And what I'm going to do is click on this menu. I'm going to change it to Mint White. And I'm going to click on this brown icon because I like that. And I'm going to click on dark. And that's it. Now we see all the icons are nice. Well, I think they're nicer looking. They're the way they were before. And let's go into my file manager, and everything is nice and beautiful and dark theme. So like I said, that was the only thing that got changed was the theming, and it's easy to fix. Now I said I was going to give you a bonus. I'm going to show you how to fix the host name. So I'm going to open up my terminal, and I'm going to type in, I don't want this to say Mint December 2022 anymore. So I'm going to change the host name. I'm going to do sudo etc. Oops, I forgot to do vim. Vim etc host name. Put my password in. And I'm going to change this to, oops. Let's go to the end. I'm going to change it to Mint July 2023. And of course, you can make it whatever you want. The host name can be whatever you want it to be. I'm just making it this so I can remember which virtual machine this is. I'm going to save the file, and I'm going to reboot. And we're at the login screen. I'm going to put my password in. And let's see if the new host name took, or stuck, or worked. And there we are. My new host name is Mensch at Mint July 2023. Or actually, Mensch is not the host name. Mensch is my username. Mensch is the username, and it's Mensch at, the host name is now Mint July 2023. So that's how to upgrade to Linux Mint 20.2 Victoria. In this video, I showed you how to upgrade your older Linux Mint system to the brand new Linux Mint 20.2 Victoria. And I also explained that you don't necessarily have to upgrade to the new system as long as you're using a system that's still being supported and receiving updates. So for instance, Linux Mint 20.1 Vera from this past December, it's still going to receive updates and be supported until 2027. So you don't necessarily have to update. But if you do want to upgrade to the new system, I showed you how to do it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something today. And if you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I am the Linux Mensch. He subscribed. Bye-bye.